We are here, everybody. Let me make sure we actually live. As y'all are checking in, yeah, we are live. Periscope was good. Shout yourselves out in the comment section. Periscope, Facebook, what's going on? Shout yourselves out. Instagram, y'all know the deal. Y'all know the routine. Y'all know the process here. Shout yourself out in the comment section. Periscope, as y'all checking in, you can tap the screen 500 times. I think they count up to 500. Facebook, y'all watching this later. Facebook has a little bit of. They had a longest tail, so y'all can check in whenever you checking in. Leave a comment, shout yourselves out, whatever. Instagram, you can shout yourselves out in the comment section, and we're gonna get into this in about 15 to 30 seconds. Hope everybody's had a great Thursday, and these weeks is going by quick. So I hope everybody's had a great Thursday, having a great week thus far. I hope you started thinking about what your goals are for 2021. Looking at what your goals were for 2020. I know the year's not over yet, but checking yourself, where you at? What have you done to this point? What you got going on? What's your goals for this week? What are your goals for the month of November? If you don't have any, if this concept is new to you, then what you need to do is stay close to what I got going on so I can help y'all out. Slim Chua said you received your book. Thank you. I told you was going to receive it. I mean, you knew it was coming, didn't you? Now you got to read it. Now, Slim Chua, you got the book. That was step 1. All right, step 2. Now you read it. Step 3. Leave us a review. If you leave a video review, we'll give you a special prize. We need some video reviews. That'll help us. So anyways, y'all checking in again, shout yourselves out in the comments section. We got Mary Rose checking in from Boston. Shout out to Boston in the building. I'm going to introduce myself, then we're going to get right into this. So everybody knows what this topic is. I did talk about this yesterday. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 27 publications, including this book right here called Work on Your Game. And this book, The Mirror of Motivation, I'm going to tell you how to get this one for free at the end of this presentation right here. And what I do, I run this company called Work on Your Game. And what we do, we help the people out there who know where you want to go. You know what you want to achieve in life, but the only thing, you got 2 things that are missing. You need the mindset in place so that you can stay focused and do what you got to do. And you need a strategy in place to actually execute, have an actual plan in place to execute it, and the mindset helps the strategy so that you actually stick to your plan, and the strategy helps the mindset, because when you have the right strategy in place, then you know you can be focused and do what you got to do. Is that Jessica? I think the name is Jessica, you said this. So shout out to Jessica. Shout yourself out in the comment section over on Periscope. So what we're talking about here today is part 2 of, I'm probably going to make this into 3 parts. Yeah, all right, shout out Jessica over there on Periscope. I'll make this into 3 parts. Yesterday I did the first part where I was telling you the best lessons and the best advice that I learned from my bosses over the years. Now, these days, I run my own company. I don't have a boss, but before I started even playing basketball, I started working. I had jobs from a teenager. So when I was 14, I started working. And between the time I started working at 14 to the time I started playing overseas at 23, and then I played overseas a couple times. Then I went and got another 1 or 2 regular jobs, and then I didn't have any more since 2008. But in that time period, I had like 15 jobs. So I know what it feels like to clock in, have a job, be on the schedule, have a boss, follow directions and all of that. So if any of you didn't know that I know about that, I know a lot about it. I probably have more jobs than most of the people who are watching this right now. So all that being said, today I'm giving you again part 2 of 3 of the best advice I got from bosses. If you didn't see yesterday's live, it is on Periscope, it's on Facebook, it's on IG, on my IGTV tab. So if you missed it, you can watch it. I will put it on YouTube as well. So let's get right into it without further ado. So this is point. Yesterday I did 1 through 4. Today I'm going to do 5, 6, 7, and then I'll do 8, 9, 10. So today, number 5, persist for what you want. This is the next best lesson that I learned from bosses over the years. And these are not in any particular order. And the reason why I'm talking about this one is I was working at, where was I doing it first? I worked at 2 places where I worked as a waiter. I worked as a waiter at this restaurant called Pizza Hut. Everybody knows Pizza Hut. And I also worked as a waiter at this restaurant called Friendly's. And I told you about my job actually I mentioned both of those in yesterday's live, but in the previous video, if you're watching this on replay. But I didn't tell these particular stories. So when I worked at Pizza Hut, my first job was as like a checkout boy at the register. So I just was at the register. If somebody called to place an order, I would take their order, put it in the computer. And if somebody came to pick up a pizza, they just came and placed a pickup order, I would put their order in for that. We didn't even have delivery at the one that I worked at. But then I noticed when I was watching the other people work, I noticed that the waiters and the waitresses, they actually made tips. They actually got paid based on how well they did their job. So if they got, they were doing really well with their customers, and of course the customers wanted to give, they would get tips. So they got money that they got to take home in their pockets every single day. Now I also learned that they made less money per hour when they were working as a server, because the math was factored in that you making X amount on tips. So they only got paid like $2 an hour on the clock, but they got to keep all their tips that they made. And this is back when you didn't even give tips to the cooks or nothing like that. Maybe some people did, but a lot of people didn't even do that. So when I saw that, and then when I was working at Friendly's, the same thing happened. First at Pizza Hut, I started telling the bosses, the managers, like, yo, I want to be a waiter. I don't want to stand here and take orders and make my $5.75 an hour. I want to be a waiter, and I want to be able to serve people, and I want to make money based on my performance. I had that in my mind even before I could not have explained it like that back then. I don't think anybody said it to me like that back then, but I said, I see them, if they do a good job, they get more money, and if they do an okay job or a terrible job, they get less money. I'm like, that's what I want to be doing. That's how I want to get paid. I don't want to get paid based on how much time I put in. I want to get paid based on my performance. So let me wait tables. So Pizza Hut let me wait tables. I remember the first table I ever waited in my life. I still remember this. It was these two elderly white ladies. They had to be in their 50s or 60s. And they both ordered like these small little personal pan pizzas, and I served them, and they complimented me. They said, you're a really good waiter. You're a really good waiter. You're very attentive. And this is back in the days, y'all. We talking the 90s. So this is back when a normal tip, nowadays, any of you work in the service industry, a tip is like 20% for food. But back then, a tip was 10%. So whatever, I don't even know what the bill was, but they left me a tip of like $2. And I was so happy because it was the first time ever in my life I had waited a table, and then I actually got some money for us. I had that $2. The first day I waited tables, I made $18. I remember I came home, and most of it was in singles. So I had like all these dollars stuffed into my pocket, and I came home and I was so excited because I had this $18. I was like, yeah, this is the way that I want to be getting paid. Then when I was working at Friendly's, I was doing the fountain stuff, which was like making the ice cream sundaes and the banana splits and all these little wacky little sundaes that they would make up for the kids and stuff. That was my job on IG. But anyway, when I'm making these ice cream sundaes, it was cool, and it was a job. I was getting paid, but it was the same problem that I had at Pizza Hut. I'm like, yo, the waiters and the waitresses is actually getting tips. And sometimes they would have me, this is how I found out, because sometimes they would have me bust the tables. And those of you who never worked in a restaurant, busting the tables means after you eat at a restaurant and you leave with all those plates and food all over the table, and you leave it there, somebody got to come clean that shit up. All right, that was me. I was busting the table. They call it a bus boy. So your job is to bring this big pan, and you go over to the table and you put all the dirty dishes and stuff into the pan. I hate touching dirty dishes. I hate touching other people's dishes. I don't mind touching my own dirty dishes, but I never like touching dirty dishes, even though it was just food. I never liked that. But anyway, they would have me doing that, and I would notice when I was cleaning the tables off that the patrons, the customers, they would leave money on the table, and that was the tip, and you would give that to whoever the waiter or the waitress was. And I'm like, man, every time they do a table, because I'm busting these tables, every time I cleaned off a table, I'm like, yo, they getting money. Every time a customer leaves, there's more money that goes in their pockets. This is what I want to do. So I started telling the managers, yo, I don't want to make ice cream sundaes no more. I want to wait tables. I just kept telling them over and over and over again. And finally, they let me wait tables. And I started doing it, and I got my little tips and whatever it was I was making. And I don't even know how much I made, if I made more doing that or if I made more just being an hourly employee. But the point was, here's the point, was that was what I wanted to do. I had one job, but I wanted a different job. So I was persistent. I was like, yo, I want this job. I want to be able to wait tables. I want to wait tables. And they kept telling me no at first, because I remember all the waiters and waitresses was like a little bit older than me, because I was a teenager at this time. I was maybe 16, 15. And all the waiters and waitresses they were probably like 19, 20, 21. They seemed older, but they weren't that old. They was just older than me. They did most of the waiting of the tables, but I would complain, and I would just keep going on the bosses like, yo, let me wait tables, and they finally let me do it. And the point is this: if you want a job, you got to go after it. You got to tell people that you want it. You got to talk to the powers that be. You got to make noise. You got to keep putting your name out there, putting your voice out there, putting your word out there. If you don't tell people that you want a certain thing, you're not going to get it. As the saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't speak up, if you don't say nothing, if you don't go after what you want, you can't complain that you don't have it. I mean, that just makes sense, right? You can't be complaining you ain't got something when you never even tried to get it. You never even put your best foot forward to even ask for the thing that you wanted in life. So that's point number 5. And that's when I started waiting tables. And those are only 2 places I ever waited tables, at Pizza Hut and at Friendly's. Point number 6 I'm talking today for those who came in the middle. I'm telling you the best lessons that I learned from bosses. And again, these ain't really things that they sat down and taught me. This is things that I gleaned from my experiences. Point number 6. People will try to sell you an opportunity when they don't have any substance. They'll tell you, I'm giving you an opportunity. This is a great opportunity, but they can't explain why it's a great opportunity is when they ain't got nothing behind it. And I'll tell you this story. And this is a story that I didn't even write about this in my book. I didn't write about most of these in my book. But when I graduated college, the first job that I tried to get, after I came home and I told my parents I wanted to play basketball overseas, but I didn't have any job offers. They like, well, you got to get a regular job. You know, you can do the overseas thing if you got a job offer, but you ain't got one. So I'm like, all right. So I start scheming how I'm going to play overseas, but at the same time, I need to get a job, right? So the first job that I went for was like it was on one of those websites where you post your resume and all that, and it's like unlimited income. It's a commission-based sales job. So I'm like, all right, I can do a sales job. The thing about sales jobs, they'll interview anybody. If you apply for a sales job, they'll interview you today. All right, you go to the interview in 15 minutes for a sales job because it's so hard to fill sales jobs, especially when they're damn near 100% commission. So I applied for this sales job. I didn't even apply. I just put in my resume. They're like, yeah, come in tomorrow. So boom, I go in there for the interview. It's like 6 people in the interview. Any of you ever been to one of these, you know what I'm talking about. It's like 6 people in the interview all at the same time. The boss goes and gives some some vague presentation about what they're doing, and they don't even tell you exactly what it is they're selling because it's some bullshit. And they know if they tell you clearly what it is, people are gonna be like, no, fuck that, and leave. So he didn't do that. So he goes through the presentation. He's like, all right. After he finishes saying whatever it is, he finally gets around to what it is. Check this out, y'all. This is 2004. Guess what we were selling? Guess what the product was we were selling? We were selling landline phone service. Landline phone service. Some of y'all don't even know what landline phone service is. This is the phone. This is like the phone at your grandma's house, where is a cord connected to the phone, and the phone is connected to a cord that's connected to the wall. You can't carry it around. You can't put it in your pocket. It's a big ass phone that that's what we were selling. Landline phone service. This is 2004. Now 2004 was 16 years ago, but damn, we not that old. It was landline phone. I had a cell phone at that time, so we knew that these kind of phones are going out of style and nobody was going to be using these probably moving forward. Many businesses still got them, but for the most part, who calls? I mean, we do call business. I guess that's true. We do call the business. But anyway, that's what we were selling. Landline phone service, business to business. So we're selling to companies. We're not selling to humans. We're selling to companies. And the thing about the job was you had to get in your car and you had a sales area. So you would drive to a certain area, and in that area, you would basically try to go to every business around there, the local businesses, not the corporate business, but the local businesses, and try to sell them phone service. Let me tell you how crazy of a job this was. So I accepted the job because I ain't had no other situations. I ain't know nothing. I'm a college graduate. I knew nothing. So I didn't know how bullshit of a job this was. So I said, all right, it's a job. My parents will get off my back. Let me just get this job, see what's up. So what I had to do, you had to shadow one of the people who was already a salesperson for like a week, just so you can see what the job is like, and then find out, do you really want to do this job? So you see what it actually is, then you see what you want to do it. So the first day I'm shadowing this dude named Matt. Now Matt came from like Ohio or something. He played like college hockey or lacrosse or something like that. He was like this big bulky white dude, and they connected me with him because I had played basketball, he played sports, so they were trying to connect us on the sports thing. So I get in Matt's car and we're driving out to his sales area, his region that he had control of. And before we even did that, actually, we're in the office and they had the sales meeting. You ever see the movie like Office Space or any of those, or like The Office, and you got all these salespeople in there and it looks like this dead-end ass job, and people are getting themselves fake hyped up before they go to work every day, and they had these bullshit ass sales meetings. That shit really happened. I'm sitting in the meeting and these people is getting all hyped, and they're putting their hands in the middle like a huddle for a basketball team or a football team. And they're doing this before they go to work. And then they all split up, get in their cars and drive to their region and try to sell landline phone service. I was like, this is a dead-end ass job. I knew it as soon as we got in the car with this dude. But anyway, he's telling me why this is such a great opportunity and this and that. And now he's like, we're going to go to my area and I'm going to work my customers. You're going to see how I do this and see what it is. So check this out. We got to go to Matt's sales area, right? He gets in his car. And before we even go to the place, this dude pulls out a map. Not Google Maps, an actual fucking map. He had a map, and he had to unfold it, and it's this big ass map. It's stretching across my seat and his seat, and he's looking at on the map and trying to figure out how to drive from where we at to where he has to actually go. And I'm sitting here like, ain't no fucking way I'm doing this for a living. But anyway, I stayed with him the whole day. I'm in his car, so it ain't like I can go nowhere. So he drives to businesses. He walks in, and they know him because he's been coming in over and over again. He's talking to the guys like, hey, you had a chance to look at that plan that I showed you and this and that. And the thing is, each one of these companies he's trying to sell his service to, they already have a contract. So when you get a landline phone service for a business, it ain't like it's month to month. You sign a contract. So this dude, people was under contract with AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, MCI, I think was still out back then. And he's just trying to work them. And like whenever their contract comes up, he's trying to come to them and sell the service. And I'm like, this is the most bullshit job I've ever seen in my life. So we go through the whole day. This dude did this all day. It was like 9. We went from 9 to 5. This dude is just going around business to business trying to sell phone service. He didn't sell any, obviously. We had a little bit of lunch and this and that. And I'm like, this dude ain't no way. Like, I'm like, how is this dude even making money? That's the first thing I was thinking. How is he even making money? Now, I'm a fresh out of school college student. I don't know anything about the business world yet at this point. So I didn't have the mind to ask this question. But if I had known what I know now, first of all, I wouldn't even been there. But at the end of the day, we go our separate ways. Then I'm supposed to come back in on Monday, do it again. But I set my clock at the wrong time, so I wake up an hour late. I end up being late to get to the office. So when I get there, I'm with the dude Matt, and he's trying to berate me for being late. He's like, man, you came late to work, and you came late to work, man. You can't be missing out on this opportunity. He starts to start going hard, like, yo, you will not find another opportunity out there like this. I know you just got out of college and you want to have a job. This is the best opportunity you could possibly have. He just kept saying that, and I'm thinking to myself, motherfucker, I just followed you around for a whole day on Friday, because this is Monday. I just followed you around for a whole day. You didn't sell anything. You selling a product that is about to die. You driving around in this beat up car, with a suit on, trying to sell landline phone service to local business owners with a map. I'm like, yo, this is not an opportunity. He thought it was an opportunity. And again, I still wonder to this day how the hell any of them was making any money. Maybe the commissions were huge if you just made one sale. I don't know. But I didn't show up again after that. I remember the next day I was supposed to come back, and I didn't answer the phone. Dude called me in the morning at like 8 o'clock when I was supposed to be there. I didn't answer. He didn't call again. He knew what the deal was. I wasn't the first person, nor would I be the last to just ghost on that kind of job. And I'm telling you that to tell you, this is what I learned from that quote-unquote job opportunity, is that when people keep telling you that something's a great opportunity, but they can't explain why it's a great opportunity, it's because it's some bullshit. If I offer you a great opportunity, I'm not going to say this is a great opportunity. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, here's the problem that you have, and here's how we solve it. All right? You will be able to figure out that it's an opportunity. If it's a real opportunity, nobody has to tell you. All right? Somebody comes to me and says, Dre, look, if you shoot this shot, if you make this layup, I'll give you $1,000. Nobody has to tell me that's an opportunity. All I got to do is make a layup. All right, that's an opportunity. I know that. I'll decide that. You ain't got to tell me. So whenever you hear somebody pushing on you that something that they're offering is an opportunity, is probably some bullshit. Because if it really was, they wouldn't have to tell you. All right, point number 7. All right, this is the last one I'm going to do for today. I'm telling y'all the best lessons and stories and experiences I got from bosses and jobs that I had back in the days. So this is number 7. Then tomorrow I'm going to do 8, 9, and 10. I was working at Foot Locker. Now, this is the first real job that I got out of college. I'll talk about this one plenty of times. So I graduate from school. I come back home. My parents like, yo, you got to get a job. I go to the phone thing. That shit didn't work out. Then I get a job at Foot Locker. Now, we know Foot Locker. I knew this was a legitimate job opportunity when Foot Locker called me and I went to the interview. I was like, I got to get this one because, look, Foot Locker, at least I get some sneakers on a discount, right? So I aced the job interview. I get hired as an assistant manager at Foot Locker. Now, the dude who was the head manager, he's the one who's like training me, right? So first I had to work there for like 2 months just being a regular worker because I had to learn how Foot Locker worked. Like, not going to make me a manager. I don't even know how to run the register or nothing like that. So for like 2 months, I was just a regular worker, but I was getting paid like a manager. So finally, the head manager, this dude named Keith. Now, Keith he was probably early 40s, bald-headed, chubby white dude. This dude was closet racist. He was a straight-up redneck, suburban, outside of Philadelphia suburbs, redneck, straight-up closet racist dude, guaranteed. Now, I never heard him say anything specifically racist, but he said some things that was borderline. But that's not even the point. Keith was the head dude, and he had been working at Foot Locker forever. He'd probably been working there his whole adult career. And his job was to groom me and teach me how to run the store. And I was going to be his assistant manager. So he's the head guy, I'm the assistant. So basically it's his store. He runs it. He decides how it runs. He decides who gets hired, who gets fired, all that. He's in charge of all of that. So basically the way it works when you work in a store like that is that one day the head manager works, then the next day is the assistant, then the head manager, assistant. So Monday through Thursday, we would just take turns working the whole day, like the whole day at the mall. So the mall opens at like 10 in the morning. You're working from 10 in the morning till 10 at night, 2 days a week. So Keith would do Monday, I did Tuesday, he did Wednesday, I did Thursday. Then Friday we both worked, Saturday we both worked, and I think Sunday would be one person. We would take turns every Sunday who would work Sundays. And then we just did that every week for as long as I worked it. So Keith, on the last couple of days, like the last week before it was my time to start running the store by myself, because I had always, the whole time I worked there, I would be with him. Anytime I was at work, he would be there. So he'd be teaching me stuff and showing me how to do things and just telling me, giving me little tips and things like that. And it's getting close to the time when I'm going to start running the store by myself. I'm going to have a key, I'm going to run the thing, and he ain't going to be involved at all. And he's just giving me some last second pointers. And this is what Keith stressed. I'm going to tell you what Keith kept saying. He was like, Dre, when you're dealing with these part-timers, all the part-time, everybody else was part-time. There were no full-time. It was just me and Keith was full-time. Everybody else was a part-time employee. Like when you go on the Foot Locker and it's just the people standing around the floor like, hey, can I help you? Can I get you a shoe and all that stuff? Everybody aside from the managers, Keith called them part-timers. That was the way he described them. He's like, man, these part-timers, if you be nice to them, if you try to be too nice to them, they're going to take advantage of you. If you try to be friendly and try to be their friend, they're going to walk all over you. So Dre, here's what you need to do. This is the phrase that he always used. He said, Dre, be a dick. Be a dick, be a dick, be a dick. Do not be friendly to them. Don't be nice to them. Don't try to get along with them. Don't try to be cool with them. None of that. Be a dick. And he knew that. I mean, obviously I was younger than him. I had just got out of college. I was definitely I had a lot more in common with the part-time employees than he did. Keith was like 40, this fat, redneck white dude. Whereas the employees was like younger. It was like younger girls, 16, 17-year-old girls, dudes that was like 21, 22. I'm like 20, 22 at the time. So I'm way closer to their age. I understood them a whole lot better. I got along with them a lot better. But Keith would always be like, don't try to be friends with them. Don't try to be nice to them. Be a dick. And I'm not even saying that I'm not saying it. I did not follow his advice. I wasn't being a dick to people just to be a dick. But one of the things that I got from that, what Keith was trying to say, and he was not very good at wording it, but what he was trying to say was, when you're in a position of being in charge, in a position of leadership, sometimes you have to be kind of an asshole. Sometimes you got to be a dick. Sometimes you can't be nice. Because if you try to be nice all the time, you try to be friendly, and you try to be friends with the people who are working for you, sometimes they will take advantage of it. It depends on the type of people you have working for you, and it depends on your energy and what the work is. But he had the right idea. He was just very, very bad at explaining it. He was very bad at communication. Sometimes when you're in charge, you do need to be an asshole. Sometimes you do need to put your foot down and lay down the law. Sometimes you might have to fire somebody. And sometimes you got to let people know, like, yo, I'm not playing around. If I tell you to do something, you need to get it done. That is what he should have said. But again, Keith did not have the language skills to do this. He didn't have the communication skills to do it. I understood what he was trying to say, which is why I could laugh at it now. But I didn't try to go do it because that would have not been a good outcome for me or anybody else. So all that being said, let me tell you these 3 things I just gave you today. Tomorrow I'm going to give you the last 3. And then I'm going to tell you about this book. So the 3 that I told you today. Number 1, persist after what you want. When I learned that waiters make money off tips, I wanted to be a waiter so I get money off tips. Number 2, or point number 6 out of these 10. Number 6, people will try to sell you on opportunity when there is no substance behind their offering. I don't have to tell you there's opportunity behind my books or anything that I put out, because you will understand what the opportunity is when I tell you what it is. When I tell you what it's going to do, I don't have to tell you it's an opportunity. It should be clear that it's an opportunity. And if it's not, you won't buy it. And the third thing, number 7, be a dick. Sometimes in life you do need to be an asshole just to let people know you're not playing around and that they need to take what you say seriously. But that doesn't mean you need to be an asshole just to be one, like Keith was. And that's why Keith, who knows, Keith probably still works at Foot Locker to this day, and it was damn 20 years ago. So all that being said, this book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. I told you I would tell you how to get a free copy of this book. You get this by going to mirrorofmotivation.com. The subtitle of this book is The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. Let me tell you why you want this book. everyone who's listening to me, you probably have goals. And if you're listening to a dude with a hat on that says work on your game, you probably understand you got to put some effort in to get what you want in life. The challenge is many people never ask themselves, here's the key question: who do I need to be? What type of person do I need? How do I need to approach life? What does my posture need to be like? My emotional posture as well as my physical posture. What do I want to see when I look in the mirror? How do I want people to feel when they come across me? This book is not going to tell you who to be. This book is going to give you the frameworks for you to tell yourself who you need to be. Because you will always be around. I won't always be around. Your favorite hype up video on YouTube won't be around. But you will always be around wherever you go. That's why this book is going to provide the frameworks for you to answer the question, who do I need to be? So you can start doing what you need to do and having what you want to have. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is already paid for. All you do is cover a small shipping charge. I will ship this physical book to you anywhere in the world that you live. Again, mirrorofmotivation.com. All that being said, let me see. I don't know if we had any comments today. I don't know what's up with IG. This thing been going in and out while I've been talking. But it's been rainy out here, so maybe that's what it is. Sports Lover said you quit a job on the second day. Shout out to everybody who quit their job. Adrian says, well, Adrian, your questions are very subjective, so I can't really answer those. I mean, don't you get that? I mean, you asked a question like that before, but any of these is something a good or bad thing or anything with the word should in it, I can't really answer. Because that's all based on the individual person. So that's my answer. That's my blanket answer to any question about is something good or bad or should somebody do something. The answer is I can't tell you. It depends on the person. Each person gets to decide that for themselves. So all that said, again, everybody, mirrorofmotivation.com. You take care of the shipping. I will ship you this book. The book is already paid for. The book's free. Mirrorofmotivation.com. Everybody have a great Thursday. We'll do another one maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday when we wrap this one up in this 3-part series. Work on your game. We out here. Dre all day.